Palantir came out of the blue back in September of 2020, and when it did, people have been speculating about its potential to become a very powerful company. Either that or just get its 15 seconds of fame from an overhyped time frame. But anyway, it became the talk of the town and had investors and entrepreneurs fawning over it. But no one knew exactly what the company does or learned its impact on the market. We still don't know what risks lie ahead in investing in the company or the chain reactions that it might create in the future. A lot of institutional investors have worked their way to figure out its operations, but no luck. Frankly, because its CEO Alex Karp has never disclosed anything or even talked further about his company's mission. For one thing, he wasn't a salesman. So today we will be tackling the possibility of Palantir to earn a whopping $1 trillion market cap and even reach the 25 times in value in over the next few years. Welcome to Financial Market TV. If you're new to the channel and enjoy content like this, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Also, please don't hesitate to share your comments down below and give this video a like. Let's get started. Before we get started, here's a little disclaimer. There's a common misconception about Palantir, that it's a data broker. What we can tell you is that it is not a data broker. They don't manage any personal data that might sell or store for who knows what reason. To put it simple, they actually just use existing data to come up with several possibilities or at least a smart hypothesis. You can say they are the Sherlock of companies. So no, Palantir does not collect or control the data they use. Rather, they just use it as components to process some more. Palantir consists of three platforms, namely Foundry, Metropolis, and Gotham. The platform Gotham was initially built for government defense and intelligence. On the other hand, Foundry mainly served corporate clients. And of course, Palantir Metropolis was used by finance-based companies such as hedge funds and banks. When you talk about Gotham, Palantir provides value that they get from data integration. First, Palantir gathers data that already exists, which provides information about a big population. These can be a variety of spreadsheets from different enterprises, to simpler ones such as data from a GPS device, videos, or imagery. The data is then put through the company's software to be individualized for each person. So once all of these processes are finished, Palantir's users get to have access to specific individuals that they are searching for and find connections and data linked to them. You could probably say stalker alert. Furthermore, Palantir's Gotham engine also gives users the advantage to search for specific characteristics of what they're looking for or even data about certain events at a specific place. Let's give you an example to understand better. I can use Palantir when I want to know all of the crimes that took place in one single route. Or I can even use Palantir to determine all the crimes that occurred near me over the past week. Still not impressed? Well, I can actually ask for comparisons between those crimes that happened over a week before. See how impressive this is? This also benefits so many sectors, especially government security. Anyway, Palantir is keen for all of its data analysis and conclusions. To further add to its data integration, Palantir Gotham users can actually test each conclusion, or hypothesis rather, to see which one has a bigger chance of being proven right. This process of testing allows users to seek out potential traders or people who pose a threat to the US government. Back in 2013, a leaked document stated that there are several government agencies that use Palantir, such as the CIA, DHS, FBI, CDC, NSA, the Air Force, Special Operations Command, Marine Corps, West Point, the Joint IED Defeat Organizations, and allies, the Recovery, Accountability, and Transparency Board, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So obviously, there are so many government agencies that actually use Palantir Gotham, and there's no doubt that the number of users will only be multiplying. There was a rumor that Palantir was used to locate the famous Osama bin Laden, as well as to convict the fraudster Bernie Madoff, who was worth $65 billion before being caught. Let's now shift over to the corporate side to Palantir Foundry, which you'd actually find works in a lot of similar ways to Gotham. So of course we have data which is then integrated and analyzed into a conclusion. With this one, users can also test hypotheses and also spot any anomalies in different sets. For example, Palantir has been used by automakers and manufacturers for their quality control, since quality issues are something these industries don't like to deal with. It's a very critical factor in business, so they have to figure out which products have quality issues and where those issues come from. This is exactly what Palantir intends to achieve, or is actually achieving. Currently, many people have been saying that Tesla needs to step up their quality control. So, our guess is it's just a matter of time before Tesla could be knocking on the doors of Palantir. Palantir Foundry also serves for manufacturing. One of the largest airplane manufacturers, Airbus, has worked with Palantir to test for manufacturing efficiency. What Palantir does is it helps Airbus spot what are the root causes of slow production and what interventions they can do to improve its product manufacturing. Palantir is also being used by one of the biggest productions in the world, which is the pharmaceutical industry. It is often a long and difficult road for clinical trials to take place, taking over a few years of operations, and they are very, very expensive. But with Palantir, users can make use of the data that exists about one particular drug, analyze it, and test its hypothesis to see if the supply chains can improve its efficiency or whether it's garnering a few issues with its development. Besides the example that we have shared, Palantir can still go beyond and maybe, just maybe, take over the world. As we know now, data is all around the world. But no, that does not mean all of it can be useful. If it is not properly analyzed, everything can be tracked and defined as data. Just like when you purchase an item, that is data. Or when a company markets and sells a product, the way it was sold to is also considered as data. These different pieces of data can also extend to manufacturing, mining, eating, or basically anything. Our point is that the potential applications for Palantir are never ending. Every company in the world could use Palantir in some shape or form at one point. So now we better understand what Palantir actually is. This time, let's go over to the main reasons why you could be interested in investing in the company and its potential returns with Palantir stocks. Palantir is not your typical business model for a software company. It is unlike any other company that offer their services in the form of a software. Palantir does not have an easy, scalable platform considering that their services do not exactly garner a very large user base. Instead, Palantir services are mostly company or government specific, but this doesn't hinder Palantir from having the potential to make big margins on its products. Palantir had a gross profit margin of 67% in 2020, which in fact is a high rate. Although a crucial factor to consider is whether a company's revenue came from a one-time payment deal or recurring revenue. For Palantir's case, most of it coming from recurring revenue. This is due to the fact that when it signs a multi-year contract to lease out its software, the company that signed it doesn't necessarily stop using Palantir after the contract ends. Instead, it is most likely that the company will be willing to sign more contracts with Palantir. This makes it much easier to foresee the trajectory of Palantir's growth. This is also because Palantir's revenue does not solely lie on the existing customers, rather, it gains profit from expanding to newer customers or its current contracts. If you ask me, this business model allows Palantir to continue its growth and development for a longer term than most. As some of you already know, during their Q1 earnings, the company stated that they have a long-term vision of being the largest and most in-demand software business in the world. And did you know Palantir strongly believes that they would be able to maintain their growth of over 30% in the next 5 years? Although the method that Palantir will have is going to be extremely different compared to the way other tech companies operate. We can clearly see that during the company's recent Q1 earnings call, their executives had a behavior that was all too familiar. They seem similar to that of Tesla's. If we take today's tech market, tech companies are especially worried about the results, or more specifically, Wall Street's reception of the results from their day to day or quarter to quarter operations. Therefore, this shakes their long term vision and goal of their company. Palantir has a different approach, which is to focus on serving their clients. They take care of a long term relationship while also appealing to potential investors every day who go deeper about short term fluctuations, but instead invest for the long term results. That is exactly why Palantir has moved its base headquarters away from its initial location in Silicon Valley to Denver, Colorado. They're going against the traditional perception of a tech company in the modern industry and are starting a movement. Palantir estimates that they would be able to successfully reach $4 billion in revenue by 2025 if they stick to their business strategy. This is what CEO Alex Karp has embraced for the company for a long time. They're looking to really understand and acknowledge what software truly is. Come to think of it, it really has been a growing part of everyone's lives. He aims to use the software to its fullest extent and potential into everyday society. In modern times, software is typically being used to expand the potentials of a business. Right now, the platform that you are watching this video on is also because of a software. For example, food delivery apps are able to reach out to a market that would normally be hard to reach out to. So software does not only save business operations, especially right now in a pandemic, it also allows customers to gain convenience. Alex Karp has foreseen that the perception of how we use the software is going to drastically change in the next generation. Currently, one of the biggest questions is how to live and create a lifestyle within a pandemic. It's ironic how they're trying to figure that out more than trying to end the pandemic altogether. This is the recurring issue, especially to our friends from the Western culture. They have to maintain their citizens' civil liberties, as well as having a strong sense of data protection. We all know how serious they are with their privacy. In the next coming decades, the companies that will have a big economic boost are going to be the ones who will use software as a way to step up their game against their competitors. So it might be a definite possibility that Palantir will become one of the largest, if not the largest, software companies in the world. If you are an investor, you'd have to observe and research if this is possible. The software at the top of the list as of now is obviously Microsoft. So if we take Palantir's current market cap, their stock would need to go up by 50 times in value. If you put in the numbers, 50 times of Palantir's current stock would amount to 1,000 a stock, which seems to be a little bit beyond its reach as of now. It would probably take years and years for Palantir to achieve it. If you look at the data, we could assume that based on Palantir's revenue until 2032 will earn them a growth rate of 40% in the next 5 years and 30% per year in the following 6 years. Then we take Palantir's 2032 projected revenue and its price to sale ratio of 25, giving you a stock price of $505 per share and a market cap of $9 billion. Pretty big. Not so, as Microsoft's numbers would still double its market cap. But anyway, we could say that it is $505 stock price seems pretty exceptional already. But what if we take a look at it from a 5-year perspective? Would we also have a bull, bear, or base case scenario? In the bull's case, Palantir's revenue would be able to grow 40% year after year during the next 5 years. Next, we could value its price to sale ratio at 25. This lets you come up with $5 per share by 2026. Moreover, in the base case, we could estimate Palantir to have annual revenue growth of 30% in 2022, 25% in the next 2 years, and 20% for the next 2 years after that. It would be 2026 by then. If you are following, that leaves us with Palantir's price to sales ratio of 20, with $46 per share in the year 2026. And finally, for the bear case, we can assume that in 3 years, the company's annual growth revenue will consistently be 20% for 3 years and decrease 15% in the next 2 years after that. This will give them a price to sales ratio of 15 and with a calculated $27 per share. To shed some more light on this, we have Microsoft's price to sales ratio valued at 11, with a growth rate average of 15 to 16% year after year. So, our past calculations for Palantir were not such a long shot. To further add, the probabilities of our calculations for Palantir are as follows. There is 25% chance of the bull case happening, 50% for the base case, and 5% for the bear case. So once we take those probabilities into consideration, we get an estimated $56 per share by 2026, which is a 2.8 times increase from today's market cap of Palantir. So with that, it might actually be safe to say that a 2.8 times increase throughout 5 years is a relatively high number. There might be some competition who can provide more trustworthy numbers, but Palantir's quality and potential are in for the long run. Their current stock justifies the size of their business and the aspect of services that they cater to their users. I guess you could say that Palantir is a tempting buy as of the moment, but you might want to do a double take. Let's say it has a strong business model and not so many competitors, run by ambitious and innovative leaders. But we can't be 100% sure its stocks won't drop somewhere between below 10s. We're not stopping you from investing. You can actually do more of your research on Palantir as well. Does this software company have its upsides dominating the downs, or is it just too good to be true? We'll leave that up to you. Thanks for watching the whole video. Again, if you're new and like this type of content, subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to leave a comment down below and hit that like button. Also, click on the notification bell to get updated on our weekly uploads. See you in the next video!